Hello to all the dear viewers of 1000 PS. We have traveled to Cologne exclusively to inspect Yamaha's latest product. I say inspect deliberately because unfortunately today we only have the opportunity to take a close look at this beauty next to me. We haven't been allowed to ride it yet, but there will be more details on that in a moment. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time. They've been saying since 2022 that the Yamaha R9 was on its way. It took a long time and it was postponed several times. The Japanese engineers simply take their time and then they really want to launch something fun, something that makes sense and goes in the right direction. And the new Yamaha R9 should offer all of that. Let's take a closer look at the details. Yes, the engine, we all know it, we all love it. It's also in the MT-09 and delivers just under 119 horsepower. Yamaha is still keeping some secrets about the R9 because the bike hasn't been fully homologated yet. Now they're talking about around 120 horsepower, give or take. When we get a closer look, we will surely discover all the details. In any case, this three-cylinder engine reaches 120 horsepower at around 10,000 RPM. At 7,500 RPM, we have about 93 Newton meters. So we've got a powerful engine that we know and love from the MT-09. It has a sharp guttural sound, and anyone who's had the pleasure of riding the MT-09 knows that the engine is fun and really gives you a borrowed sense of joy. We still can't say for sure whether the bike will also be rideable with an A2 license. For young riders, it would obviously be interesting. With the R9, they haven't just taken the MT-09 and added some fairings and called it a day. That's not how it is at all. The frame has been completely reworked. Yes, the frame is produced using gravity casting. It's a completely new development. So it's not a case of simply slapping some fairings onto an MT-09 and that's it. No, that's not the case at all. The bike has truly been redesigned and the frame is clearly visible, pulled inward to create a relatively narrow riding position. It should perform well in flex, but with excellent stiffness. We'll find out if that's the case during the track test. But as I said, it's a new development. Let's move on to the suspension. Not everything that glitters is gold. We've got a 43mm Kayaba upside-down fork installed. The Kayaba suspension is fully adjustable. That means spring preload, extension and compression adjustments, low and high speed adjustments. It's therefore suitable for track racing. Most of us won't need that. We'll ride with standard settings. It's nice to be able to adjust so much. Guys, let's be honest. Are we really good enough to make 3 clicks more or less and feel a big difference on our home track? In my opinion, very few people actually notice the difference. As for the track, the suspension and the fork adapt very well. You can already see the sporting ambitions that Yamaha has here. At the rear, we have Kayaba shock absorbers with an adjustment dial that can be set according to our needs. The spring is also fully adjustable. Naturally, I can't say today how everything will work on the road or on the track. We'll have to wait a bit longer to see how it rides. It will take some time. We'll need to be patient. I can't wait. I hope 1000 PS sends me there so I can really put the throttle to the test. But we'll take another close look at everything. For now, it's just raw facts, so you can see it and know a few basic details. The brakes are a crucial aspect of this sport bike. I think we've installed a Brembo system on this bike, given its power and track ambitions. We have Stylema calipers with a 320mm dual disc system. This should stop the bike properly. You can really see the racing genius Yamaha is showcasing here. They don't do things halfway. In this price range, and speaking of price, we'll talk about that later, it's not a given. So the bike will definitely stop well, I'm convinced. The electronics of the new R9 have been heavily borrowed from the Yamaha R1. It's hard to believe, different price category, huge difference. But a lot has been used. A 6-axis IMU has been installed. Now it's also integrated with Bluetooth so you can do full data recording. And once again, this ties into what I've mentioned a few times today, the track day ambitions we have with the R9. This means data recording, which allows us to track everything precisely. How much lean angle did we have? When did we fully open the throttle? When were we going fast? Where did we set the braking points? What were our optimal lap times? We can analyze everything in detail and see where we still need to improve. It's always very interesting. As for the electronics, we don't do things halfway. I think it's extremely cool that it's integrated into the bike right from the start. A fantastic feature. Yes, let's stay on the topic of electronics. Quick shifter as standard, of course. It works perfectly. It's the same as on the MT-09, works flawlessly, brings joy, and doesn't get stuck. I remember it from the MT-09, I've ridden it myself. I know the engine well, I know the bike well, there's nothing to change. It fits perfectly, the controls also work flawlessly. The 5-way switch is perfect, there's really nothing to criticize. We have cruise control. Naturally, we have different ride modes to set. We have ABS launch control and traction control. So everything is state of the art, but it's not something you'd expect in this price category, and that needs to be clearly said. So for the tech or electronics enthusiasts among you, you'll get your satisfaction. You can fully experience it. A beautiful 5-inch TFT display. The display has vibrant graphics. For the track, we'll need it a little less. This bike is definitely suitable for those who want to ride it to work, cross the city, take a quick trip to the hills on the weekend and have a small ride with friends. But also for those who want to take it to the track or ride it calmly. And this is another idea that suits me. I don't have to choose between this bike or that one, but I get a bit of everything and I can say it's suitable for this, it's suitable for that. I could even stay on the road for longer. We'll have to see how comfortable it will be. Yamaha promises it will be more comfortable than the R6, and I immediately believe it. I've ridden many R6s and I know my way around, so it surely will be. What I'm trying to say is that the bike is certainly much more suited to everyday use, that's for sure. As for the tires, Yamaha opted for the Bridgestone RS11, a good choice in my opinion. I was a little surprised. I thought more of the S23, which we all know, and I think it's usually mounted on the MT-09, another great tire. But they've now opted for the RS11, a good choice. The R9 comes with 180 tires, which is relevant for track days, where you usually ride with 190 tires on the R6 with a regular 120 in the front, as we're used to. Now, 180 tires are certainly ideal for road use because the bike is naturally a bit more agile, but for track days, it's certainly a good option if we put 190 tires on the rear. I assume this will likely crystallize in a way that you can go time hunting with 190 tires. You can put them on no problem at all. I'm curious to see what effect it will have on the ride performance, whether you notice anything or not, whether you need to adjust the bike's geometry a little or not. All of this will become clear and the future will show whether it's more suited for the road with some small track ambitions. I've also heard that from 2025, 3 teams will participate in the Supersport World Championship. I've heard this, but it hasn't been confirmed by Yamaha, it's just me. If it's not true, you can hate me, but from what I know, 3 teams will race with the R9. 2025 will be really exciting and interesting. But there's no need to be afraid and think that the R6 is now worthless. The R6 will still be present in the World Championship. It's a bike capable of winning and it won't disappear overnight. So don't think that just because the R9 now exists and just because it's expected to be available in dealerships from March 2025, the R6 will no longer exist. So, for all of you who have an R6 in your garage, for all of you who take part in track days, don't panic. Your R6 is still a great bike. Your R6 will continue to set fast lap times on the asphalt. It won't be replaced that quickly. Sure, the R9 is already in the starting blocks, but it still needs a little time. Now, let me come to my brief conclusion. As I said, today's presentation was something I've never experienced before. They sent me here and told me that Yamaha was presenting a new bike. We didn't know what kind of bike it was. It was a big surprise, a big secret. Even the editors were asked to attend the presentation individually, a completely new approach. But of course, it was also fun. For me personally, it's a bit of a challenge because we received the information at the last minute. I will naturally write a report for you calmly, where we'll go over the data, the technical details, where you can check them, compare them, etc. The bike is available in black and blue colors. There will definitely be a GYTR kit for the track, but also for the street version. Everything will probably be presented at EICMA. For now, I'll stick to this initial small presentation in a quiet little room. For me, the bike looks extremely cool. The design is new, as is the completely redesigned front headlight. Despite the large engine, the bike has a very narrow design, which is a great achievement. It should also be much less windy now, with reduced air resistance, just like on the R6, for example. We have these winglets at the front, which push the bike a bit more onto the ground. I believe it's something like 8% on the straights, if I understood correctly. And in the corners, we have around 10% more downforce, which should reduce front wheel slip a bit. Once again, we're moving in the direction of racing. You can already see where Yamaha's engineers are heading. However, the bike can also be used for everyday practicality. That's what Yamaha says, and that's what I believe. It's lively, agile, fun to ride, with a really cool and powerful engine. I can emphasize that I already know the engine. Unfortunately, I haven't ridden the bike yet. It annoys me, I can see it, but I can't ride it yet. But we'll get back to it, we'll get back to the bike, so it's definitely one you can ride pretty casually. The price is a real challenge. Please don't kill me, but it should be priced around 13,000 euros, so it's quite a high price. On the other hand, it might even seem like a bargain, given that you can really do everything with this bike and its equipment is fantastic. With the suspension, brakes and electronics, I almost sound like a shopping channel presenter. What I'm trying to say is that this is really an attack by Yamaha in this mid-range supersport segment. Yes, good riding position, you feel comfortable right away. The riding position is good and the tank is narrow, 14 liters, so we should be able to go quite far on a tour without needing to refuel at every small gas station. We can also go for a short tour and the fuel consumption will probably be around 5 liters again, just like the MT-09. I assume it always depends on how hard we pull on the throttle. Of course, I can't wait to try it out. My racing genes are kicking in, and then we'll really see what the bike can do on the track, how competitive it will be, or how fast it will be. It will definitely be competitive sooner or later, but the question is how long it will take for this transition from the R6 to the R9 to happen and how quickly it will occur. It will certainly take some time, but I am convinced that the bike will establish itself. If you enjoyed this brief report, give me a thumbs up, ring the bell and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. We will definitely do a detailed and informative report on this R9, and of course we will ride it properly. With that said, I wish you all the best and stay in the saddle.